Okay, hi folks, welcome back. Another new session, 2024-25. Hopefully you did well with your exams if you were sitting them, and if you've now moved into higher physics or advanced higher physics, then hopefully this channel can help you along the way. There has been a change over the summer that certainly your teachers will notice, and this was brought to my attention back in was it March or April, when my advanced higher class were writing up their project reports, and I assured them they could download a full version of Microsoft Office or Office 365 using their Glow username and password, and they informed me that that option is now no longer available. And that news eventually filtered down to schools and through the national media over the course of the summer, and here is the article from the TESS magazine, the Times Educational Supplement, which I'm sure the students don't read, but anyone interested in education in Scotland should certainly be aware of. Anyway, here's what it says: Scottish schools and Microsoft Office changes. From August, access to desktop versions of Microsoft apps like Word and Outlook will end via the school's intranet Glow. And here's what it means for teachers and school leaders, but more importantly, for school students. So, what's changing? Up to now, the Microsoft Office licence held by Scottish schools intranet Glow, known as the A1 Plus licence, has allowed teachers and pupils to download and or activate a Microsoft Office suite free of charge. However, from Thursday the 1st of August, due to licensing changes from Microsoft, Glow users will no longer be able to download the desktop applications through their Glow account or use previously downloaded and activated Microsoft desktop apps. And it's important to stress that no documents will be deleted, and old documents will still be able to be viewed and printed if you've got a printer, but it will not be possible to edit them or create new content via the desktop apps. So this is worth repeating: you no longer have access to the full versions of Microsoft Office. So what are we going to do then? What will the impact be? Well, teachers and students will still have access to the Microsoft Office tools like Word and Outlook online through Glow. It's the desktop version of the Office 365 apps that's being lost. So if you go onto your Glow dashboard and look for that download button for Microsoft Office, it ain't going to be there. And so what does that mean then, that we still have access via the online tools? Well, it means you've got the same access as anyone would have if they signed up for a free Microsoft 365 account, and you can use Word, Excel, PowerPoint and more for free on the web. And if you've already got a Glow account, then you don't need to bother with this. You'll already have access to all of these tools. And then once you're logged in, everything is accessed using that little, is it the waffle button they call it? Those little 9 dots up in the top left hand corner there. If I click on that, then I've got access to all the online versions of the Microsoft tools. And if you're like me, you don't have a Glow account anymore, then you can sign up for your own personal Microsoft account and log in with that. Once you've signed in, you'll see all the online tools that you'll be able to use. So there's Word, PowerPoint and Excel. Now, because you're using the online versions of these tools, then all your documents are going to be stored online as well, and they're going to be stored in your OneDrive account. This is your 5 gigabytes of cloud space that Microsoft gives you. So whatever you do using these online tools, then they're all going to be stored on your OneDrive. And again, you access that by clicking the little waffle button at the top left hand corner, and you see OneDrive is one of those options. In fact, you can select any of those tools or any of those online apps from that waffle button, or if you're on the main screen, you can select them from there. Now, why am I telling you all this? Why have I spent nearly 5 minutes going on about this? Well, in previous years, you would have Microsoft Office downloaded onto your computer, and anything you produced would be stored in your Documents folder on that computer. Now, everything is in the cloud. And these online tools do not have the same full functionality as the desktop version. And that's a problem if you're doing advanced higher physics and you're wanting to do graphs using Excel. Now, I've already done 3 videos on this channel about how to do graphs with Excel at advanced higher level, and I'll put the links in the description down below. And they all use data from the experiment to calculate acceleration due to gravity using a simple pendulum. So I'm going to do the same again here and use exactly the same data, but produce the graphs using the online version of Microsoft Excel. And most of this process is exactly the same as you would do with the full version of Excel, but there are some things that are different and some things that you just can't do at all. So let's do it. And in the simple pendulum experiment to determine acceleration due to gravity, we varied the length of a pendulum, measured in meters, and we measured the period of the pendulum, that was the time for one swing. But the graph that we're going to produce needs length on the x-axis and the period squared on the y-axis. And we get to the first of the issues that we've got with the online version of Microsoft Excel. You cannot use superscripts in your table headings. So if I want to type period squared, can't do it. You've got to put in a little up arrow between the period and the number 2. Same with the units. If I want to do second squared, can't do it. I've got to do S, up arrow, and then the 2. You get the up arrow, by the way, from Shift 6 on the computer. If anybody figures out a way to do it, please let me know in the comments, but I'm under the impression it just can't be done. So I'm going to put in the data I have for the different lengths of pendulum, and there's all the values that I had from my experiment for the period squared. That's exactly the same data that I've used in my other videos. So the only difference is, how do we produce the graph of this? Well, to produce the chart, it's exactly the same. You just highlight all the data, just the numbers, and then go up to Insert, and we want to insert a scatter graph. So that's the little icon with the scatter of points on it. And there is the chart that's produced, and as usual, there's an awful lot we've got to do with this. And all the tools that you now need open up in a separate panel on the right hand side. If that panel doesn't open up, just right click on your chart and click Format. And there's the panel there, and that's got everything that you need then to tidy up your graph into the format that the SQA want to see. So the first thing I would do is I would add major and minor grid lines onto your graph, and you do that by clicking the horizontal axis, scroll down, right the way down, and then you'll see you can put minor grid lines and major grid lines on it. The other way you can do that is to use the ribbon that's running along the top of your spreadsheet. As long as you've got chart selected on the very top menu bar, then you can access all the same tools here, and grid lines is along at the very end there. And if you click on that, you can also access minor and major grid lines and add them in for the vertical and the horizontal axes. Then I should probably give my graph a title. So the way to do that is go to your little panel on the right, and if you can't see the heading you're looking for, scroll all the way up to the top, close any little sub-menu you've got, and then you'll see the full range of tools you have, and chart title is the top one. Click on it, or just click it on your actual graph, and then you can edit your title in the little text box that opens up. I'm just going to call mine G by Simple Pendulum. And then I want to put the labels on my axes with the correct units as well. And you might think, I'll do that using the panel on the right. So if I click on horizontal axes, in fact, before I do that, I can see that I've got legend ticked there. I don't need that. I don't need a legend because we've only got one set of data. Anyway, I can't find anything there where I can put in my horizontal x-axis labels, so I'm going to do it the other way. I'm going up to the ribbon and put in my axis titles using the drop-down menu there. Remember, on the x-axis we've got length in meters. That's easy enough to type in there. And I can do the same with my y-axis on the vertical axis. And this time we've got a choice of a rotated title, a vertical or a horizontal title, I'm going with a rotated title. Again, we can just type in period squared. We can't do a superscript, so you've got to put in a little up arrow, or you've just got to type it out in full, period squared, and then it'll be seconds up arrow squared. No superscript facility, I'm afraid. Oh well. Right, what have we to change now? They're a wee bit small, so I can go up to the little home button and just increase the size of the font. That would be where you would find the superscript button in the full version of Excel, but alas, it's not there. Right, so once we've got them the size we want to change the markers. So you do that by clicking Series 1 on the panel on the right and scroll down to Marker Options. It defaults to the automatic dot, but we want a little cross, and you can change the size of it with that little slider there. You can also change the colour underneath by clicking Outline. That's a very important button, and usually we want black, and again, that's maybe a bit big, want them a bit smaller, that's fine. Then close the Marker Options drop down menu, and again under Series 1, if you scroll down you can see the trend line option. We want to add a trend line, so click that. It defaults to a dotted blue line for some reason, and if you scroll down and press the outline button, we can change it to black. And then if we want it a solid line, you've got to press outline again and then scroll down under the colours and you get to weight. That's the thickness of the line. Then click outline again, scroll down, there's the dashes. We don't want dashes, we want a solid line. So click solid line, and there it's there. And that is pretty much it for the graph. Oh, apart from the fact we probably want to display the equation of the line. And again, if you scroll all the way down, there is a tick box there for display the equation and values. It's pretty small, so I'll click on it and go up to my font tools and make it, 14 probably. There's a wee bit bigger. I might also want to change the precision of those numbers because all my data is to 2 decimal places, and the equation of the line gives me the gradient to 4 decimal places. So we can change that by going over onto the chart panel on the right, and under trend line you've got the option to change the number format. When you click number, it defaults to 2 decimal places, which is what we want. So our gradient is 4.02. And then the last thing we need is the uncertainty in that gradient, because as you know, there is no such thing as an exact measurement in physics, or any measurement we make without knowledge of its uncertainty is meaningless. So we need to determine the uncertainty in the gradient of the line, and there is a built-in function in Excel that does that for us. It's called LINEST, or LINEST, or line estimate. And here's the process for doing that. You select 4 blank cells anywhere on your spreadsheet, and then in the formula bar you type in an equal sign and then the word LINEST, and as you type it, it'll probably come up in a little list underneath, so you can just click that underneath, and then an information box might come up telling you that we're looking for all your known Y values and then all your known X values, and then a couple of extra pieces of information. So first things first, highlight all your Y values and then press a comma. Then we want all your X values, then press a comma. Then we want the word true, which means it's not going to try and force it through the origin, and then true again, which will return all the extra information that we need. And then this is where it's different from the full version of Microsoft Excel. You would usually press Control, Shift and Enter simultaneously, and that would give you the little 4 boxes of data that you require. Well, that keyboard shortcut doesn't work in the online version of Microsoft Excel, so instead all you can do is press the Return key and then click anywhere else in your spreadsheet, and it returns 10 cells with information in them. We're really interested in the top 4 there. In fact, I'm going to highlight them, make them a bit bigger and highlight them in yellow. And if we just look at those 4 cells that are highlighted in yellow, then the top left one is your gradient, the one below it is the uncertainty in the gradient, The top right one is your y-intercept. The one below it is the uncertainty in your y-intercept. All the stuff below that, we don't need it. Now, how do you get all that information from your spreadsheet into your project report? Well, I would go back to your Microsoft 365 online tools and open up a Word document. And then in your Word document, you can copy and paste your table, your graph, and your uncertainty data into the Word document from your spreadsheet. So there's my spreadsheet. I'm just going to highlight my table, and Control C will copy, and then back to my Word document, and Control V will paste it in there. Now if it doesn't have any borders around it, if you want to put borders around your table, go to Table Design and then just click the first one there on the left. Then underneath we could either put in our graph, or you can put in your LINEST data if you want. Back to your spreadsheet, just copy the top 4 boxes. Control C, copy, back to the Word document, Control V, paste it in, again go up to Table Design, click the borders, and then underneath that we could put in our graph. The graph should really be a full page in your project report, but we go back to our spreadsheet, still open at the top there, right click on it, and then copy, back to your Word document and paste it in. Control V, and there we have our results, our graph, our uncertainty data, all in our Word document. And that Word document and your spreadsheet, don't forget, they will both be stored in your Microsoft OneDrive. So it doesn't matter what machine you use, they'll be accessible on any computer as long as you log in with your Microsoft username and password, or your Glow username and password. So losing the downloadable free version of the full Office 365 suite is not a disaster, although there are some limitations as to what you can do in terms of functionality. Then we can still pretty much do what we need to do for our Advanced Higher Physics project reports. That's it then. Any questions, put them in the comments, and we will see you in the next one.